Eugene, having just found love with his girlfriend Stephanie, was bewildered by her mysterious disappearance. Even the soldiers couldn't locate her. Relying on his intelligence and wit, Eugene focused on a suspicious underground group in his search for clues. To uncover evidence against this organization, he and Princess decided to secretly infiltrate the home of the supposed plumber. The guy would be out running at this hour. They chose to enter by scaling the walls. Eugene quickly searched inside, while Princess kept watch at the window. But by chance, it was raining and he was already running back. Eugene discovered a box under the bed filled with various weapons, including a handgun. It seems that this organization really has a big plan, and all these can be used as evidence. 3 minutes later, the man returned to the house. Eugene and Princess, unable to escape in time, sought refuge in the adjacent apartment. They narrowly avoided detection. As they reached the end of the corridor, the elderly woman, who had witnessed their wall scaling earlier, summoned soldiers. In the end, they were charged with breaking and entering. Lance visited their cell with a stack of documents, explaining that Roman was indeed a city-contracted plumber and was legitimately working on pipes that night. Lance also said that the weapon found in Roman's house was for self-defense, and that any full citizen could apply for it. Lance also told Eugene that Roman understands what you and Stephanie are going through, so he's not going to pursue it. You can leave peacefully, but you have to stop stalking Roman. Eugene never said a word. He signed silently. No matter what, he couldn't get Princess locked up here with him. Back at home, Princess advised Eugene not to continue. Stephanie might have broken up with you and that's why she left. Eugene was smart enough to think that the truth was not true. He decided to go out again tonight to find out. A woman walked into the warehouse that night, and Eugene stealthily followed. Stephanie might have been abducted or worse, and Eugene was not willing to give up without knowing the truth. So he wanted to be a warrior for love. He approached the stairway a little bit closer. There were shadows flashing above that seemed to be plotting something. He took out his own chilly water and was ready to go up the stairs.
Hey!
Told you I heard something.
A sudden kick left Eugene breathless, and as he struggled to look up, he couldn't believe his eyes. The woman attacking him was none other than Stephanie. However, she appeared drastically different from before. As Lance descended the stairs, it became evident that Eugene's earlier speculations were accurate. There was indeed an insider within the government orchestrating these events. Lance took a glance at Eugene and then instructed the others to go upstairs. He would personally handle this matter. Eugene stood up, now realizing that this might all be a deception. It was laughable how he had genuinely believed that a girl would like him. Even getting lost in the illusion, he walked to the staircase and locked eyes with Lance. In this moment, he shed his former timidity and asked assertively, "Stephanie was never real, was she? Who is she? A spy? You used her to get close to me, deceiving my emotions just to learn about the Alexandria safe zone, didn't you?" He was truly waking up now, piecing together recent events, understanding that it was all a scheme orchestrated by Lance and this woman. Reflecting on everything that had happened recently, it all seemed to make sense now. No wonder they were caught at the train station. Stephanie was a fake from the beginning, just to deceive his feelings and get the address of Alexandria's safe zone. Lance watched as Eugene finished venting and then calmly said, "You're right, Eugene. I did lie to you, but what does it matter? I brought you here. Have I harmed your community? I've been trying to prevent you from falling in love, but you insisted on seeking the truth. That's why we're in this situation. You can expose this, but what about your friends? Will they be better off? I am still helping in rebuilding the Alexandria safe zone, funding Ezekiel's cancer surgery. Do you want to ruin all of this?" Lance said and turned around and left. He wasn't worried about Eugene telling anyone. Eugene sat on the stairs, drenched in cold sweat. Even if he revealed the truth, what could he do? His friends still had to live here. After a while, he pushed aside the anger in his system, left only with bitterness and sadness. He tossed the missing person notice into the fire. It was all a bubble. The dream had to end now. There was no Stephanie, no shared taste in ice cream, and certainly no one who liked him. He burned the novels they had discussed. Suddenly, a woman quietly appeared behind him. In the darkness, her face was indistinct, but she stared at the despondent Eugene.
Taterbug. This is Blue Weevil to Taterbug. Please, come back.
Eugene froze. This was the call sign he and Stephanie had used in the radio transmissions. Eugene slowly turned his head. And to his astonishment, the woman was Pamela's secretary, the same woman he had seen buying ice cream on his first day in the Federation. What in the world was going on? The woman, revealed to be Maxxine, then disclosed the truth. She had been Pamela's secretary all along. One day, she found some radio parts in the trash bin at City Hall. While everyone considered it junk, her long-standing interest in electronic devices led her to take it home and repair it. To her surprise, she managed to fix it. Maxxine had never intended to connect with the outside world. She simply found satisfaction in her technical accomplishment. However, one day, Eugene's voice resonated through the radio, leading to the establishment of their contact. Maxxine didn't use her real name but casually mentioned a fake name, Stephanie. They talked about many things, reminiscing about their lives before the apocalypse and the towns they used to reside in. Astonishingly, they discovered they were from the same small town and shared a fondness for local blackberry ice cream. The more they talked, the more curious they became about each other and even had feelings of cybersex. Talking to Eugene became the most relaxing part of Maxxine's day, and the man always managed to make her laugh. Until one day, just as they agree on a meeting place, the radio thing is discovered by Maxine's brother, Michael. Lance's tech team had detected unauthorized communication with an external community, including eavesdropping on their conversations and knowledge of the meeting point. Michael, the commander in charge, never expected the lawbreaker to be his own sister. However, he couldn't bring himself to hand his sister over and hoped that Lance wouldn't recognize the voice. Eventually, the radio was confiscated by Michael, making it impossible for Maxxine to go out and meet Eugene. On this particular day, while getting ice cream for Pamela as usual, Maxxine spotted Eugene with a woman claiming to be Stephanie. Using Maxine's own tone of voice, nervous and fearing exposure, she didn't respond to Eugene at that moment, because both she and her brother will be punished if this is exposed. After all, there is a possibility that this fake Stephanie was arranged by Lance. After walking a short distance, Maxxine looked back and saw Eugene and the woman talking and laughing very sweetly. After hearing the entire truth, Eugene felt like a fool. He didn't know what Lance was up to, but it wasn't easy being used, and the woman in front of him had lied to him. Unable to accept the reality, he hurriedly left. Maxxine watched him leave with disappointment and anger in her eyes. The next day, Eugene sat by the lake, lost in thought for 2 hours. This scene caught the attention of sketch artists. After a while, Rosita, pushing her child in a stroller, approached him. She could see that Eugene had become very depressed since Stephanie's disappearance, so she wanted to keep her old friend company. Eugene nodded his head. He wanted to tell the truth that it was just that his mates were doing well here. It was hard work but generally safe and happy. Exposing Lance's true nature would make survival difficult for everyone, but the more Rosita talked, the more sadness came into Eugene's eyes. In the end, Eugene held back, simply stating that he and Stephanie had broken up. He hugged Rosita and cried for a while, relieving the pressure in his chest. Rosita smiled and said, "Eugene, you're a good person, you'll find someone better." That night, Eugene knocked on a door.
Oh, please don't shut the door. I want some raspberry goodness of the inside scoop variety. Please, it's very cold.
Maxxine saw that this guy had a good attitude and let Eugene in with a glance at him. Inside the room, Eugene saw various electronic devices on the table. He understood that, while this woman wasn't named Stephanie, she indeed was the online friend who shared his interests. Apologizing, Eugene said, "I'm sorry, Maxxine. I rejected your explanation last night because I was avoiding. I was rude. Sometimes girls can be so unreasonable." Still, Eugene apologized sincerely. "I'm sorry, Maxxine. I should have realized she was a fake. Can you give me a chance to make it up to you?" Eugene nodded, feeling his heart shatter, and prepared to leave. No longer wanting to disturb Maxxine, Eugene stopped walking and thought, "Is there any hope?" As they chatted, the atmosphere gradually became lighter and it seemed to go back to that time in the past when they used to contact each other by radio. The rift between them disappeared, and the possibility of being together depended on Eugene. On the other hand, Ezekiel came to the hospital for a checkup. Tommy greeted him and asked about his well-being, inquiring if he had eaten anything, as a blood test was required before surgery. Ezekiel was surprised. He had only come for a routine checkup. Why was there suddenly talk of surgery? Was it his turn already? But Tommy told Ezekiel in a very solemn manner that it is indeed your turn and you just need to wait for the operation. And the assistant next to him said that you were very lucky. Some people wait for years without waiting, and even the bills are paid for by someone else. Jerry laughed excitedly, believing his king was saved. However, Ezekiel felt uneasy. There was definitely something suspicious about this situation. Jerry reassured Ezekiel, "Don't overthink it, boss. Maybe it's a coincidence, a misunderstanding, or maybe it's a blessing from God, but no matter what, you will survive." After leaving the hospital, Ezekiel pondered for a long time. He was sure someone had helped him behind the scenes, and he seemed to have an inkling of who it was. Carol. Only Carol would do such a thing for him. Friday arrived, the day of the surgery. Jerry and Carol comforted Ezekiel, telling him not to be nervous as it would soon be over.